Hello and welcome to the Back to the Feature podcast with Evan and Gabby. Double features, double takes. This is the podcast where we talk about two movies, one new, one older, what makes them a good pair, and how the history of films influences the present.
I'm Evan.
And I'm Gabby. And today we are discussing Freakier Friday and
The Parent
Trap. Two films that explore themes of sisterhood, literal found families, and what happens when we let Lindsay Lohan cook.
I think Lindsay Lohan, circa 1990 whatever, invented the term cooking because goddamn, The Parent Trap, incredible.
You watched for the first time, which is
no,
insane to me.
No. I watched for the first time in one movie without TV commercial breaks. So I've seen it before.
But you had seen it before.
Yeah.
That makes me feel a little better.
But
I thought
like
you had never seen it.
No,
and
I've
I
just
was
seen
really
it with
upset.
commercials.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big part of my childhood, this movie, as was the original Freaky Friday. So I'm excited to talk about the latest in the lega-sequel pipeline.
Yeah, and what a lega-sequel it is.
It's a movie. It is a movie. And but before we do that, let's get to some movie news.
Yeah.
I know that you want to talk about some things, but I need to talk about James Cameron really quickly. He's starting to roll out the Avatar press tour slowly but surely, because we are getting Avatar 3 in December, as we all know, and we got the first trailer a few weeks ago. We talked about that on the pod. But he's already talking about Avatars 6 and 7, evidently. And somewhere in my brain, my moviegoer brain, I knew that there were plans for like 7 to 10 Avatar movies. But I have blocked that out, much like most of the Avatar movies. So I saw that and a little part of my soul just like died because I can't believe we're going to go this far. Technically the story is that he's not going that far. He may not be directing Avatar 6 and 7 should they happen. Yeah. But my question is why? Not why would he not direct them, but why? Why must it continue? Doesn't he's invented this thing, this world, this story. Doesn't he want to see it through to a nice conclusion, maybe with 3?
Well, once you make something as incredible as a Tolkien, you never want its legacy to end. I can't do it. I feel like we're gonna hit a wall where eventually these movies are not gonna make $2 billion. I think possibly the thing that makes this, I think the key thing about this argument, right, is why do these movies make a ton of money? It's not because they have a cultural, mainstream cultural impact. Kids aren't, to my knowledge, kids aren't growing up pretending to be Jake Sully or being blue for Halloween. The thing that makes these movies, the reason these movies make money is because they're James Cameron films, right? It's the approach, it's the execution.
He could make anything.
Yeah,
he could do anything and make $2 billion.
Yeah,
he made Titanic, a serious, dramatic film about real world events, and it made $2 billion. So I have a lot of questions, but most of it is wrapped up in the sheer shock value of seeing the words Avatar 6 and 7.
Well, some of it, don't you think that if there was another Avatar, when he announces that he's done with Avatar films, but he's I need the franchise to continue, I'm passing the reins to this person, don't you think Disney's going to be listen, we know James gave you the keys to the kingdom, but we're not going to give you the same kingdom. You're not going to have the same budget. You're going to have to roll it back. And so I think whatever the first film that James Cameron is not doing is probably going to be set up to fail from a business perspective, and also you're gonna have to find someone who believes in the world as much as he does, which could be someone
not sure that's possible.
Well, I mean, it could be someone on his creative team, right? Like the production design team and the CG teams. It does feel like they are in the trenches with him, literally, you know.
They are breathing
the Marianas
Na'vi.
trenches with him, and so it's just hard to say. I mean, I think the fact that the second one did as well as it did, but also partially because it's like a 10+ year thing. I think some people I'm sure saw it out of pure curiosity. With the next one coming out this year, I wonder if it's too soon, you know?
I think that this one is going to be a really big test, because I think that the second one had this aura of like speculation around it and anticipation, and it had been pushed so many years that, you know, I think it ended up being 12 years between the first one and the second one. Yeah. So there were people for sure that there were fans of the original, and maybe that there were people who had time to become fans in that period. But I think you're right. I think a lot of people just saw it out of curiosity, out of, you know, trying to be part of this cultural conversation where we're all kind of asking ourselves, what does Avatar add to the culture?
I mean, there are video games. I think there's comic books, you know, there's normal, there's just books. There's novels, books. There was a live show at some point. There was a Cirque du Soleil base show is what I'm seeing, Cirque du Soleil put on an Avatar show. There's obviously the Disney theme park as well. Like, their Avatar is trying to be something because James Cameron has the depth of this world to present and have it be merchandised in a way. But I mean, you know, I feel like even before Superman came out, I feel like no one would say Jake Sully over Superman. No one would say or Na'vi over Superman or anything, you know, like it's just really, and you can't really show these movies to kids because
they're really violent.
They're violent. They're a little scary.
I feel like a child would be afraid of those big, large blue people.
I would be. I'm sure if I went to Disney, I'd be like, I can't go there. And as a kid, I'd be like, there's no way.
They're huge.
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver is already tall, but they made her so much taller.
So, Sigourney taller? Is that something? No.
I don't know. I think James Cameron has earned the right to do whatever he wants, and he is clearly exercising that right. But also, please spare the rest of us at some point. Like, have mercy on us.
I mean, part of it is too, like, it's the theme, the world and the story. Maybe they just are the best. The best form of it is that they're exhibitions and they're theme park rides, right? Like that. The coolest thing about watching the Avatar movie is just to see the spectacle. That's why when I was like seeing this, I was like, that's crazy that there was a Cirque du Soleil show and from 2015 to 2019. Oh my God, that's a long time. That's
kind of a long time. But who knew about it? Not us.
Yeah, not us.
People, we follow movies. We would know if this was in the culture.
I mean, I avoid Cirque du Soleil, so I guess that makes sense.
I mean, it's not regularly on my feed, but I know it exists.
It's called Taruk: The First Flight, inspired by James Cameron's Avatar. It depicts a world before the events depicted in the film. Cool.
Oh, a prequel.
The prequel. For the Avatar completionists, you're gonna have to go see the Cirque du Soleil show. We're gonna have to the first flight to know the whole story.
We will be starting a change.org petition to bring that back before Avatar 4, 5, and 6 are released. So link in the bio.
Yeah, I heard the Philippou brothers are coming back to the silver screen with a sequel to bring her back, bring Taruk back.
Also starring
Sally Hawkins.
Sally Hawkins.
Flying on the thing. Oh my God. Yeah. She braids in.
Sally Hawkins takes flight and bring Taruk back. Okay.
Anyways.
More interesting news. AMC theaters
they're shortening ads allegedly. Sources tell the I've told Deadline that the AMC executives are discussing how they can make ads and movie pre-roll shorter. If you've listened to this podcast before, you know Gabby and I are not fans of how long the pre-roll is. I don't think anybody is. It's gotten to a point where it's incredibly exhausting because they're showing real commercials now. The Google commercial that pretends to be a movie is insane. Like, I actually respect the audacity that marketing team had. They said, oh, it's gonna be in front of a theater, let's make it feel like a movie. That was crazy.
I want to repeat on this podcast that I love trailers. I'm not like against seeing trailers before I see a movie, but seeing commercials for like Indeed when I'm sitting down to watch a movie, that's not putting me in the mood for cinema. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
and also it's become a joke. Like, it's become kind of like bad for the movie going experience that people know that they can show up like 30 minutes into a movie, and then if you do show up later into the running time, like, you do risk, you know, like losing your seat, or like not being able to find your way, or, you know, in other words, annoying me, who got there early to watch the whole pre-roll and is now annoyed that you're trying to step in front of me as I watch the Indeed commercial. But,
and also, like,
you know,
I don't know who it benefits for now AMC, like, on their app. And also, we talk about AMC a lot just because it is a movie theater that has a mostly affordable movie like subscription plan where you get to see movies at an extremely reasonable price, right? For what you're paying, for what you get in return, especially when you live in a market like Los Angeles where we're spoiled for choice here. But AMC specifically started saying that, you know, before the movie starts, it's 25 to 30 minutes of trailers. So people already know, like, they have that physical text on there. It's like, well, why would I show up if I don't want to see the thing?
It's giving them permission to show up late and to miss these ads anyway. So maybe that's why they thought they could sneak in some ads. They think people are just showing up late. Yeah. But the real ones know. We've seen these commercials too many times. The Google AI one, get out of here. Yeah. I don't care if those people bought a house. I can't afford to buy a house.
If you saw the Indeed people from the ad in real life, would you ask them for an autograph?
I might.
Because I think I would maybe recognize them at this point.
I think that would make their day. So
I think it would, yeah. Okay, so I think just to put a button on this one, though, I mean, I think my pitch for movie theaters, and this is almost like the most like podcast thing to say, like, dude on podcast says my pitch for movie theaters to be better is incredible, right?
Give it to the people.
I feel like movie theaters, I think, used to change the amount of trailers shown depending on the time of day it was being screened. Like, matinees especially would show a little bit less. Even up until last year, I think they were still doing that. I think that's a very helpful thing. Obviously, trailers differ from the movie you're seeing. Even like the format of and how you're watching the movie, you'll get different trailers as well, depending on who's paying for the space. But I don't know. Maybe mix it up. Like, I know it's like kind of a pain in the butt to pay attention to what you're presenting or projecting, but I don't know, like, if you want the same amount of revenue without having to sacrifice the amount of time, start like in one night, the same showing, start swapping out the trailers of what you're going to see, what you might see. Have theaters have studios pay a premium to sneak a trailer into something. Like, did you catch the exclusive screening at just the 8:00 or just the 6:40 for the exclusive Superman 2 trailer or something? I mean, I went to Minecraft to go see a preview of Superman. Why can't that be like, a sneaky one? A sneaky one. So, yeah, I don't know. That's just a suggestion, I guess.
That's a good idea that you shouldn't be giving out for free, but I did tell you to, so you can blame me for it later.
I mean, if one single movie executive is listening to this podcast, hey, call me. and music movie executive is so funny, right? It's like, it's studio executive, theater business, movie exec. Oh boy. All right, and lastly, rounding out some movie news, Marty Supreme. Gabby, tell us about this new Marty Supreme movie for people who may not have heard about it.
The trailer for Marty Supreme, directed by Josh Safdie has dropped, and I broke my own rule to watch it. Usually I only like to watch trailers in theaters, but my hype for this movie is too high, and I did in fact watch it, still on a large screen, but not theater screen.
What'd you do? You put the phone right up to your face? Like this?
I watched it on my television out of some respect for the Safdies. Although this is the first, or I guess it will be the second release in the release schedule, but the Safdies have split temporarily, at least. Not sure if it's a permanent split. I don't think anything's ever.
I don't think so. Split. I mean, they got to get back together during the holidays at the very least.
That's true. Plus, no one is ever really split up in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck and J-Lo told us that. And I still don't think they're done. I still think they'll have another reunion
Oasis
in like
is
10
touring,
years.
You know.
Oasis is touring. Nothing is the end.
Yeah.
But anyway, Marty Supreme is being directed only by Josh Safdie, starring Timothée Chalamet as a fictional ping pong champion, aspiring ping pong champion. And I want it in my veins. I want this movie. The adrenaline of this trailer is what I want to live on from now until the holidays. And will I finally understand the appeal of Timothée Chalamet? I think I might, because historically, Evan and I went to college together. Evan knew me back when I dated men, and Evan knows that I sometimes like a man with a little bit of a unibrow and crooked glasses. I'm into this. I'm into this look.
Oh my god.
Evan is crying if you guys are like just listening and not watching, but Evan is having a full breakdown remembering straight Gabby in college. That was a tough time for everybody. But I really do think this is Timmy's biggest Oscar play to date. I think like he's playing an original character. He's really, the intensity of the performance is coming across just in the trailer, and the dedication that he's putting into this one.
Yeah, I think it's pitched really interestingly for him too, because he's been playing these kind of like these like, I'm like the unassuming guy that's actually really cool, you know, like
I know Bob Dylan, Paul Atreides,
right,
Willy Wonka,
small physical presence, big,
right, larger than life kind of impact.
Yes, yeah,
but I think it's really interesting to see him play like a knowing underdog with these big ambitions, and to see him in this like hungrier mindset.
There's a pretty incredible moment in the trailer where he does something. I won't spoil it for people, but he does something and it's just a 3-second shot and you're just like, what are you doing? Yeah. What is that?
And I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
I can't wait.
Yeah. I'm excited to see that trailer in theaters as well. I wonder what the first movie. I'll see that.
I'm not sure, but I can't wait. I'm anticipating it already. I will get to the movie on time just for the opportunity to see the Marty Supreme trailer on the big screen. And of the 2 debut solo Safdie movies, I'm definitely looking forward to this one more. We spoke briefly before about the Smashing Machine trailer, which is just a little less my style, I think. But we will see it.
They're not coming out the same weekend, right?
No. Smashing Machine is coming out like a month or more before Marty Supreme. Marty Supreme is a holiday release.
Oh yeah, Marty
another
Supreme
good strategy
is Christmas
by Timmy.
Smashing Machine is October.
Has had 3 holiday releases in the past 3 years that put him like square into the awards conversation, and into like, you know, catapulting him into another year of stardom, rising stardom. His team is very smart, and he probably is too. Never met him, but maybe.
Yeah, I'd like to one day.
I don't know if I do, but maybe if he keeps the unibrow.
I was gonna try to segue out of speaking of the unibrow and things
we can't do that to Lindsay
things
Lohan.
That are freaky. Let's talk about Freakier Friday.
Let's do it. Let's dive in. Evan, how did you see this movie?
I think we saw this. So a little peek behind the curtain, a little how the sausage is made. We were attempting to see We were attempting to do another double week of recording between watching Weapons and watching Freakier Friday. We had watched both the same weekend. They both came out the same weekend. Freakier Weapons, I think the public has been calling the split. We both watched it. I watched it, I think, on Sunday with a group of my friends. Shout out Leah, Haley, Brandon, Andrea, and Connor. Special shout out to Connor, who has lent his audio board to us to use on the podcast a few times. The last time we recorded in person, we used the audio board, so that was a good big addition to our setup. And yeah, we saw it in a group. Saw it in the Dolby. First time I'd been in the Dolby in a long time, just because I'd been in the XL. XL, shout out.
You and that XL
saving my life every Thursday. So it was nice to be in the Dolby. We were pretty close. I hadn't seen a movie that close in the Dolby for a while. I will say I sat next to a family, and the mom was holding her young son. Don't know how old he was, but he was old enough to speak complete sentences. And maybe 30 minutes into the movie, he goes, "Is Freakier Friday done yet?"
Oh no.
And he kept crawling around the seat. He kept touching my arm. It was some real weird vibes.
Sounds like they need to take that kid to Weapons.
I think that kid's been weaponized. Josh Brolin
against Jamie Lee Curtis. He's a national threat.
He actually ran out of his seat and straight to the screen, posing out. How did you saw the movie opening night, right?
I did. I made this a date night. This was actually, this was a suggestion of my girlfriend's. She really wanted to see it. We also saw it in the Dolby room. It was pretty packed, the theater. We went just at like 7 p.m. on Friday, and it was pretty crowded. A lot of people around our age, a lot of nostalgia audience was out in full force for this one. And it definitely, I would say that play worked, to get people to the theater again. And people were excited. People were really excited to see this. And I think a big part of it was just people our age wanted to see Lindsay Lohan. Like, we kind of grew up with her as a child star, and like seeing her as a thriving adult again is something exciting. And she's not just making Netflix holiday movies anymore.
Yeah.
But it was a good experience. There weren't very many children, no crawling at our screening, but I'm going to say that was
squirmy little kids asking if the movie was over.
Rude.
Listen, it's true. It's a fact. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'll say. Anyways, Freakier Friday, yes, released August 9th, 2025. Directed by Nisha Ganatra, written by Jordan Weiss, produced by Kristen Burr, Andrew Gunn, and Jamie Lee Curtis herself.
Starring Jamie Lee Curtis, Lindsay Lohan, Julia Butters, Sophia Hammonds, Manny Jacinto, Chad Michael Murray, and Mark Hamill.
Before we get into the movie thoughts, I want to ask you, Gabby, you said, I think, when we started this, I can't remember if it was on or off mic already, memory of a goldfish. Pew. You said you had a pretty big relationship with the original Freaky Friday movie, right?
Yes, I do. So I was about 7 or 8 when the original came out, and I believe it came out during summer vacation. And my mom took me and my sister and our friends to see this movie, I believe, more than once. We were pretty obsessed with the original Freaky Friday. And it's a strong, mother-daughter movie. Me and my mom wouldn't get to the tumultuous teenage daughter stage for like another decade, but it was a good preview. I would say, for her. And I think that this movie did its job in that way. I had fun. It's not perfect. It's kind of cheesy, but it leans into the cheesiness in a way that didn't annoy me and made me miss my mom.
Aw, nice.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything from the original Freaky Friday movie besides the brother putting the chopsticks in his mouth and going, "I'm a walrus." And also, I'm sure some probably, I imagine, poorly aged Asian references and jokes about Asian people.
Yep. There were a few.
So when this movie was announced, I was like, it's over. Like, this is like cash grab. It's Lindsay Lohan like just trying to get back into the thing. Not that I was ever like either super pro, super against her or anything like that. I didn't really. I mean, I think I watched her movies as a kid because she was everywhere, right? But I didn't really don't really have any strong feelings either way, besides the fact that the industry was bad to her, But I was like, I don't know, guys, what are we doing? So I went in with very low expectations, and very much like the last couple movies we've covered on this podcast, Eddington, Weapons, Together. I would not have seen this movie if we weren't doing this podcast. I really enjoyed it. I was like, this is a cash grab, but it's actually a cash grab with a heart of gold. I thought this was so much funnier than it had any business being. I thought I had a ton of fun with it, and part of that is just going in a great group setting too. There's a lot of moments that I was like, what? And my friends were like, what? And like some of my favorite experiences of the movie theater this year have been seeing with a similar group of people, similar friends. Maybe this is just the movies we're seeing, but like Dogman was like this, Minecraft movie was like this, but Freakier Friday out of the 3 movies is legitimately much better and good. Besides some there's definitely, you put it to a magnifying glass, there's going to be holes in the script. So there's some really weird editing and some really odd some weird structural choices that make the pacing really clunky, I think. But as just like kind of like a family film that you put in theaters, very interesting that it comes out so close to Naked Gun, a kind of big studio comedy, but for a very different crowd, like more full quadrant appeal. I think it really, really works. I think it's really fun. And I really think Nisha Ganatra does a really good job with some directing choices. I don't blame any of those editing things on her. I think there's just like so many weird and fun elements that work in this movie for me. So I really was surprised. I was really taken by surprise by Freakier Friday. I know a lot of it too has to like, Julia Butters, absolutely incredible. Like she was incredible in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She's incredible in the I Think You Should Leave Macanudo sketch. And when you watch her Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, you're like, this is a star in the making. And I don't know what she really did in between that movie and now. She probably just went to school and grew up, because I imagine her parents wanted to have a little bit of a normal life before fully diving in. But I
don't know. I know it's child stardom is not what it used to be, and maybe that's a good thing. But I also saw her in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and was blown away. But this performance, for some reason, despite the rest of the movie not really hitting for me the way it hit for you, I came away from it being like, Julia Butters is the next Jodie Foster. Yeah. She is.
She's gonna be huge. Like, there's no doubt about gifted. Like whatever her next. I'm like haven't IMDb pro'd her or like been like, what's she doing next? But like, I know there's rumors that she might be in X-Men or something. But or Kitty Pryde, who's a very popular X-Men character. I mean, I think everyone in this job did great. The ensemble cast was great, right?
Everyone was also seemingly just having so much fun. Yeah. Like but we noted about the Naked Gun, and I definitely want to note here is that everyone seems like they are having the time of their life in this movie. Mm-hmm. And I think that alone makes it so much fun to watch. Like, even if you're not hitting with some parts of it, this is a good time at the movies. The energy is high. Like, people are really giving it their all, and you can tell.
Yeah, even if you only laugh at Vanessa Bayer's parts, those are like some of the best parts of the movie.
Honestly, those were a little too real for me. Like, one of them when she was like when she transitioned from being like palm reader in the Starbucks to working at the Starbucks, I was like, that's real. That's a real person.
Yeah, 100%.
But also it was very funny. And I want to say that it's funny. I was going to save this for the box office bet, but we can preview it a little bit here. Sure. But it's interesting that you say that you thought this was just going to be a big cash grab, because I believe this movie was supposed to originally go straight to Disney Plus.
Interesting.
And I think that the lore is that Jamie Lee Curtis, the mayor of Hollywood and recent Oscar winner, kind of used her cachet to push them to put this in theaters or to as a producer, and it's working.
Yeah,
it worked. Like she knows a thing or two. Jamie Lee Curtis turns out.
That's interesting. I mean, I could totally see that being the case. And that's exactly like what we're talking about with Naked Gun, right? Like movies, like the comedy movies don't get big budgets anymore. This movie doesn't need a huge budget, but you're able to see the final set piece at the end behind me. Spoilers, but it's in the trailer. Sorry,
it's at the Wiltern.
It's at the Wiltern. Also, did you see they I think they shot at Break Room 86.
Yeah, they did.
Her bachelorette party.
Oh my god, they shoot. I do appreciate that. Something I really did appreciate in this movie genuinely was that they shot on locations. They used real LA. And I mean the first one is shot in LA as well. The first one actually, the first Freaky Friday, shot in my girlfriend's hometown, Pacific Palisades. It was shot at her high school. And I think parts of this movie were shot there too. Like she was, looking at where their house is, and she was like, I know that street.
Oh, wow. That's wild.
I don't think they used the same school this time. It's the same school as Licorice Pizza, though, if you're keeping track of how many times they use the same high school in teen movies like I am. But they give a cute shout out to Palisades High School. Actually, they keep the mascot as the Dolphins. I'm not sure if that decision was made pre or post wildfires, but it was a nice touch in my girlfriend's eyes, the Palisadian.
No, that's
and also great. Jamie Lee Curtis, a Palisadian. But I love that, they used real locations for this. They shot on the beach. They shot at the Wiltern. They shot at a real school. They shot at Break Room 86. It was just, it made it feel real. It made it feel grounded, and it made it feel almost, I mean, this has to be what they were going for, and sounds probably, too on the nose for me to say it, but it makes it feel more like a continuation of these characters' lives than a lega-sequel.
Yeah,
like a straight lega-sequel.
Yeah, because why I was like reacting so big about the lega-sequelness at the beginning is like, did you do a rewatch of Freaky Friday before the movie? I feel like was that something you did?
I actually didn't, but that movie is so ingrained in my brain that I felt like it all came back to me the second that I sat down and was back with these characters. Like I remembered Jamie Lee Curtis's book. I remembered that her husband had died. Like I remembered all of it. It was just like a sense memory to me. But I thought that it played really well as a continuation and a realistic portrayal of how these characters' lives would have spun out over the last 20 years.
Oh, so you don't think it felt like too fan servicey or like too Easter eggy at any point?
I actually don't.
Nice,
I think that the only time that I was like, oh, this is fan service was at the end when they do the Pink Slip song, the original song. But damn it, if that didn't slap, if it didn't hit, if I wasn't like sitting there like, damn, yeah. And that's such an iconic scene from the original, from the original 2003 version. I think technically it was also a remake of an older movie.
Yes, yeah.
So there's that iconic scene where like Jamie Lee Curtis is playing the guitar and like, do it backstage so that Lindsay Lohan can pretend to be playing on stage. And they do a little callback to that in this movie, which I thought was sweet.
Yeah.
And ultimately making it a mother-daughter story also I thought was very sweet and very much a reflection of the first movie, but but again, didn't feel too forced or like finger pointing to the audience.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I really love that last moment, the last song that they do, and like having her come out. I thought it was all very well executed for me. I just to talk about the mother-daughter story for a second. I feel so if you haven't seen the movie, just a really quick like overview. It's in the trailer. not too much to spoil here if you're someone who's seen at least 5 movies in your life, but it's basically, instead of the original conceit of Freaky Friday, where just the mother and the daughter, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan, vice versa, respectively,
switch
grammar, whatever, they switch bodies. In this version, Lindsay Lohan switches bodies with her daughter, played by Julia Butters, and Jamie Lee Curtis, Lindsay Lohan's mom, she switches bodies with
Lindsay Lohan's soon-to-be stepdaughter.
Yes, played by Sophia Hammond. So there's 4 aspects of body switching going on here. The 2 pairs of characters are usually together, like the Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis, Sophia Hammond and Julia Butters. They're usually together, right? Was it ever confusing for you? Was it too much that there was too many body swaps or something going on?
No, I actually don't. I wasn't confused, and we gave Julia Butters her flowers, but I want to give Sophia Hammond her flowers as well.
Yeah.
I thought she did excellent at playing an older woman in a young woman's body. I thought that I'm not sure she was doing the accent on purpose, or if she's, if she is British, but the accent really added a lot to it.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that some of her line deliveries are what I laugh the hardest at, even if it's just accent dependent. But I think that it was really interesting and smart to see the intergenerational play as well. So I found it more compelling, not confusing, which I guess is the point. Like you said, there are holes in it for sure, but on the whole, I kind of just let the logic of it go, and it was like, okay, I get it now.
It took me a second to sink in, but if I had operated with that directive, it would have been like, oh yeah, that's easy. I also had it on my mind. Someone I was talking to was saying, he's like, I just can't get into Freakier Friday. I have some type of phase blindness. I don't understand when they switch who is who, and I was like, how do you do that? How can you not? And then when the 4, I was like, okay, wait, hold on. And now I'm like, then I had that on my mind, so I was like, but just to confirm,
it also helps that they make so many jokes. Like, the younger girls make so many jokes that they're like, we're old.
Yes.
We only have a decade left, tops. And I'm like, okay.
Oh my god, when they're riding, when they do after the body swap, and the younger girls are riding the scooters and they fall off.
Oh my god, the scooters around Echo Park.
They're like,
we're okay.
Anything. Our bodies will break. It was so funny. Just to confirm, Sophia Hammond was born in South Pasadena, and then she grew up in Colorado, though. But her and Manny Jacinto were both not doing British accents, which makes me ask, why did they have them do British accents? Because I do agree it adds with Sophia Hammond, but I was like, Manny, we need Manny doing a British accent.
No, he's so hot though. I'm not listening. Respectfully, I'm not listening to anything he says when he's on screen. I couldn't even tell you if he had an accent in the movie. I really couldn't. I forgot he was British until you just said it.
Yeah, I mean, it was really nice to see. Just to focus on the movie for a second. It was nice to see him. I really loved his scenes with the visa scene, or the green card scene with the marriage certificate. That was a really, really good. Loved the way the writing of the surfing scene, how that was executed. I thought that was great. But then really when he's like, I'm making this as my daughter comes first. I have to make the decision. I guess it's off. I was like, those scenes are so hard to pull off because they need to happen, and they're always going to be a little cheesy. And I think it was done pretty well. That whole moment, for everything going on. And I was just like, he's got
I mean, that moment that did have a bit of the hole in the script for me, that scene, just because this climactic scene where he's deciding to call off the wedding because of an outburst that's coming out of Jamie Lee Curtis's mouth, but is actually coming from his daughter, but he doesn't know that. So I was sitting there thinking, wait a second, but Jamie Lee Curtis is really in favor of this marriage, and all of a sudden she's not. Like, why is nobody questioning this?
Yeah.
Like, you know, that was one of those moments that I did get a little bit in the weeds, but I do think that the acting in the scene is really compelling and that he did pull it off. I also want to shout out his dance moves. Excellent.
Dude,
really good dancer.
Chloe Fineman cameo, insane.
Goes crazy.
So wild. No one, like, why'd you have to do it like that? That's wild.
Half a scene. Love it.
With a, Australian accent, I think? Something?
For no reason.
No reason.
Once again, accents for no reason. Why not?
The one thing sorry, keep going.
I was going to say that would be an amazing segue. Accents for no reason.
Yeah.
Into our next choice, but
no, I'm not gonna let you, because there's two more things I want to hit. The last thing on Manny Jacinto is that Brandon, one of my friends, Brandon, who I went to see this with, he brought up a great point when we watched the movie, that it's really nice to see Manny Jacinto on the big screen. Notoriously, he was cut out along with several other actors, many of whom were Asian American, that were cut out of Top Gun Maverick. A movie I do love, but it does sting every time I see him, half his face, or him, walking around in the background. It is such a bummer that I don't know what that storyline was, what it could have been, but they cut it for time, and it sucks, because he had already been established in The Good Place, and to have him cut out of the movie like that is really just such a shame. So it's really nice to see him on the big screen like this. He got a great shout last year in the Star Wars show The Acolyte. He played a really compelling villain. Was super cool. That was kind of when the Manny Jacinto whole whoa, who's this guy thing kind of started, so
where have you been?
I really just it was great to see him do that. The last thing I'll say, and I think this is kind of like a criticism coming from someone from me who's been very pro Freakier Friday on this podcast, who's really liked it. There was something very interesting. It did feel like a lot of stuff was cut out. There's a lot of very odd editing moments.
Absolutely.
There was this blooper reel that included many more scenes that seemed like they were just not used. So I do think I wonder what the longer version of this script looked like, and what they traded it for. Why did they just cut it simply for time? Because it was still close to 2 hours, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I would also be curious. My hunch would be that they added more Chad Michael Murray to the plot. Yeah. That would be my hunch. And you asked me what felt callbacky, too Easter eggy in the movie earlier, and it's Chad Michael Murray for me.
Yeah.
I do think that his ongoing joke of being into older women that look like Jamie Lee Curtis is really funny. That was pretty. I laughed pretty hard, but if that would be my guess, would be that they wanted to reverse engineer in a little more nostalgia, and rather than just give Lindsay Lohan a brand new, love interest, they had to throw in the old one too. That would be my guess.
Yeah, that's a good point. From
a movie making perspective,
him showing up at the rehearsal dinner is not enough, and shouldn't be enough to cause to help segue into that breakdown scene. And it really felt like it was kind of just a one and done in the hey, you see him at the shop, it doesn't work out, it's fine, right? That if that was all it was, would have been a little bit better. But yeah,
I think that scene was always there. I think that inviting him to the rehearsal dinner and to the wedding and lingering a little more with him seemed more fan servicey, and definitely could have been a note, add more nostalgia factor Chad Michael Murray.
So one nostalgia factor though that was really interesting, that was kind of appreciated, was the addition of Elaine Hendricks in the movie, who played the reporter. Really fun to see her. I had seen the picture of the two of them together. I was like, oh, that's fun. I wonder if they just did this as some type of Parent Trap, kind of nostalgia thing to boost press reunion, for the film. Yeah. And then she was in the movie.
I loved it.
Almost seems like she hasn't aged a day.
No, she was hot in 1998. She's hot now. A movie full of hot people. Groundbreaking.
But it was really nice to see them reunite, and I guess we'll have to talk about their first meeting, which was in The Parent Trap back in 1998.
Yes, that's right. Take me to Camp Walden, Evan.
Wow, you were too ready to switch your background.
I was so ready. I'm always ready to talk about this movie. I almost just don't even need to rewatch it. It's a pleasure to, but when I tell you that this movie was my childhood, it was on all the time. Not even just on like the channels, like you said. Like I had the VHS, I had the DVD. Yeah. Like I was in, and I would love to say that from an early age, I was influenced by the work of a female director. And that's what drew me to this movie, but it wasn't. It was Lindsay Lohan. I just thought she was really cool. And that there were two, like, I remember not being able to wrap my, like, 5-year-old brain around the fact that there were actually not two of her. Like, my mom and dad trying to be like, well, that's the same person. And I was like, what? How did they do that? But okay, let's talk about one of my favorite films of all time, The Parent Trap, released July 29th, 1998, directed by Nancy Meyers, in her directorial debut, which we, frankly, don't talk about enough. Written by Meyers, David Swift, and Charles Shire, produced by Shire, starring Dennis Quaid, Natasha Richardson, and Lindsay Lohan ×2.
And Elaine Hendricks.
And Wikipedia really rudely left her out of the list.
And Lisa Ann Walter and Simon Coons. This that is actually really surprising. I didn't know this was Nancy Meyers' directorial debut. That's really very. We'll have to circle back to that. That's wild.
She had written before. She famously was already Oscar nominated at this point for writing Private Benjamin. But this was her directorial debut. Big time.
Okay.
This is one of where, like, her energy begins as, like, the queen of kitchens and vibes, you know? Like, I feel like that's what people know her for now. I'm not even sure that people realize that she directed this movie. It's almost like when somebody says a Nancy Meyers movie, you think about... It's complicated, and, you know, it's movies like that, you know, I have a good time, and they do have fabulous kitchens, but The Parent Trap started it all.
Oh my God, I forgot she directed The Intern.
Of course she directed The Intern.
I actually did like The Intern.
Incredible kitchen in The Intern also.
Well, speaking of kitchens and speaking of cooking, we've got to talk about the box office bet and whether or not the Freakier Friday gets a cook-off. Yep. Yeah. We're really trying to get to places tonight on the record here. So The Parent Trap got $92 million total in its run. And in 2 weeks since its release, we're recording this 2 weeks after Freakier Friday release. It's already made $90 million on a $45 million budget. That's pretty wild. Like you said earlier, Gabby, this was slated for Disney Plus originally. Wow, what a great move. Jamie Lee Curtis, sure. Congrats. That was.
She stays winning. She won. She's winning. Put movies in the movie theaters. Groundbreaking idea.
Also, cool. Like, you could have Disney would have had to shell out a lot of money to get him, but then also it's like, hey, I wonder if they were like, we'll take a pay cut if you put it in theaters and we get more points on the back end, right?
Ooh.
Yeah.
That would have been a power move.
Yeah, but maybe, you know?
but it seems like we have our first new release clear-cut winner.
Well, also we've been recording like opening night for most of this.
I know, movies. So we can't really like say.
I'm pretty sure Weapons is about to pass Prisoners. I think Weapons is about to cross. I think mil.
Weapons is gonna surpass, which we are thrilled about here in this house.
We should do a bonus episode or a full episode just dedicated to. I mean, it's gonna get busy, but
following up on the box office.
We should recap every single box office bet. Yeah, that's a good one.
We should do it. I'm gonna start that spreadsheet just for fun.
It's gonna have the lowest listener rate out of any podcast we put out,
and I won't care because I wouldn't be surprised
if people like tune out after they don't get to this part of the podcast.
Yeah, probably not. That's okay. This part's for us and the real heads.
It's one for them, one for us. It's the age-old Hollywood model. Speaking of
Evan, tell me what your first clean viewing of The Parent Trap was like.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Speaking of the age-old Hollywood models, this movie falls under the definition of they don't make them like they used to. Because you watch this movie and you're like blown away within the first minute of this movie. That's the background that I've chosen behind me. It's not because it's the first couple images that showed up on the movie screen grab site, but it is because this opening is so captivating, so immediately compelling, so gorgeously shot by Dean Cundy, expertly edited, directed. You're just allured into this world, and then after that you're thrust into this camp. The Alan Silvestri score just like roaring, and you get to summer camp and suddenly it's joke to joke to joke, and they just don't give movies like this the same type of respect, right? This is a movie that you could see, you're like, okay, subject matter wise, sure, this is probably a movie that comes out Friday, Netflix in April. You see some memes about it, and then it's over, right? Like that's where we said it on Naked Gun. We'll say it again here. That's where these levels of movies and comedies and stories have been going. They've been going straight to streaming with smaller budgets, with smaller casts, and there's going to be one or two big name people that get you in, but it's there and it's forgotten, and you don't get to spend the type of time it takes to craft a movie like this. Obviously a very well written screenplay, right? I'm not saying that Netflix streaming service movies like stack up, right? But it's just subject material wise. But you just don't get like the music that this gets, the camera work, the way that it's like, you just treat this the same.
The locations.
Oh my god, the hotel.
They're shooting the vineyard. Yeah. Oh my god,
the vineyard and like, that mansion is crazy. Yeah,
that mansion, even like the campgrounds, like. The boat, like the shooting in London.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. Like they would not do that now for a movie like this, which is sad.
Yeah.
Because like you totally can make a movie like this now, but no one is going to, put the same budget and the same, I think you nailed it, respect behind like an all ages kind of movie centering on two little girls, basically.
And also, you have this
one little girl.
You have this intro again. I'm very fixated on this intro. It takes maybe a full like 5 minutes of opening credits then to get to our main cast. We're not starting with Hallie, but
you need to be invested. We as the audience, what's so smart about Nancy Meyers and about the script and about the direction is that she knows that we need to be invested in this relationship between the parents before we get to the kids. Yeah. We need to know that they were good together. We need to know that they were, how in love they were and how magical everything was around them before whatever caused them to split like this. And that's what happens. It's a very effective opening because we care.
Yeah. And today someone would see an opening like this, and this is like sometimes how these things work, allegedly. You hear stories about this. An executive would watch this movie and say, well, we really paid Zoe Deutsch a lot of money to be in this movie. Can we get her on screen faster? you know. And this is no shade against Zoe Deutsch. I think she makes every movie she's in one full star better. Like I
That's
believe
very
that.
true.
But
Absolutely.
This is just example of like she's done a lot of streaming movies or movies that have just been on streaming quickly, or movies that just like, listen, we have to cast one big star. That's all we got. How do we get them on screen for as long as possible and as soon as possible, right? And they don't even show Dennis Quaid or Natasha Richardson's faces.
No, but these are silhouettes.
Yeah. It's
if you're just listening on audio.
And people might be like, oh, Evan, I think you're overthinking this. I don't know. Maybe, but also like, it's just really tough because like I have this feeling when I saw No Hard Feelings where I'm like, No Hard Feelings is the closest I felt where I'm like, you guys put money into making this movie, but it doesn't show that you did. And you could have, because I bet you guys had the budget. You got Jennifer Lawrence. She probably was an EP, and if you were like, hey, maybe if we did something like this, you know. So all that to say, I had a long way of answering your question, but like watching this movie was a real treat. This like shot up to be like an all-timer for me because of just how confidently it's just directed, like all masters of the craft in a very different form, right, than other like movies we've talked about before, right? Prisoners, I said the same thing. Masters of the craft, just a different style but a different execution. And I think we'd be remiss not to discuss Lindsay Lohan as a kid here.
She really had it all. She had everything going for her in this movie.
Yeah.
Like just down to like being in the star of the movie twice. Like her name and her face is on this movie. Bold face. This is her movie. Like Natasha Richardson and Dennis Quaid, great.
Yeah.
Very believable couple. Very good looking. Very good actors, do their parts well. But this is Lindsay Lohan's movie. And the fact that she can do this at age, like 11 is amazing to watch. Even now, even like putting anything about her and like how her life turned out later aside, this is an incredible performance. And it shows something that she has like deep and innate in her that I think just can't be replicated. Like, I think that's part of the magic of this movie is that I still don't think I've seen like another child performance stand up to this. I'm being 100% serious. Like there are a lot of good child performances. Weapons just had a great one, but this kind of performance, the double role, playing two totally different personalities, different characters, again, a different accent, for a silly reason that they just want you to be able to tell them apart, I think is really a huge ask for a child performer, for any performer. And she just hits it out of the park.
Yeah, I mean, she's like tapped into something so specific, especially for what I imagine is her debut, acting role as well, if or at least feature film role. And it is, you think about like the trajectory her life went, you're like, man, it's such a shame what happened, because just like, I don't know, she really had something there, and you can see in Freakier Friday's like beginning where she's starting to tap into those similar muscles and things like that, but it's not quite the same thing, because like part of the charm is like how instantly like mature she is in both roles, but in different ways, right? And the personality and like the precociousness, but in like a way that you're like, this is kind of like, it's very unique, and it's very and it doesn't feel showy, it doesn't feel performative. It's just, she
feels like a regular kid.
Is both those, you can tell
she feels like a kid.
You can hear the accent slipping, but you're just like, nope, she's still two different kids.
Don't care.
I will say too, Natasha Richardson, when I saw this scene when she agrees to fly to SF and then she's like freaked out and smoking in her bedroom, I was like, oh my god, I actually remember this scene so well. And then I was like, I knew that the butler is gonna be like, if I were you and I had legs like yours and I was seeing my ex, I would wear this. And I can't believe I remembered it all. I was like, holy cow.
I can't believe that this movie has the audacity to make that man straight at the end of this. We could talk about that later, but yeah, this everything in this movie is just done with such care, and it comes across, as you said. But I really want to focus on just how iconic the movie has stayed, in part because of Lindsay Lohan, but also just like this movie has a place in culture, essentially, for people our age, just the way that Freaky Friday does, and just the way that Freakier Friday may someday for people who are just discovering it now. I don't think that a lega-sequel to this movie would work for many reasons, nor would I ever want it to happen, but I think that its legacy has really impacted the way that we view relationship movies, sisterhood movies, and it lives on in the culture. Like, we say it all the time, like, just parent trap them. Oh, you're going to parent trap them. Like, when you want to stick two people together, like it's in the culture. There is an influence that this movie has that I also don't see lasting for a lot of movies these days.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think, when looking at the lega-sequels and things like that, I do think that Freakier Friday will probably have some type of, kids will have some type of relationship with it.
Especially if Julia Butters and, Sophie Hammond's, like, if they have the careers that, their peers go on to have,
Yeah, and I think, like, in the lega-sequel vein, right, like something like Mean Girls the musical is, I don't think, going to connect with kids as much. Like, they might be like, oh, that Renee Rapp movie, or like that one song that she had was really funny.
Exactly.
But it was so referential to the original thing that it couldn't stand on its own, right? Whereas Freakier Friday, it stands a little bit apart from that. But when looking at something like The Parent Trap, like, it is just kind of its thing, and
it can't be taken from it. And I think that that's very special. You mentioned that after you saw this movie and you mentioned it to some friends and coworkers that they had some thoughts, that like it was immediate, that like they had memories, they had, things they wanted to talk to you about, and they had not just rewatched the movie. So what were those things? I think I know what they are, but
I think
speak a little bit on how this culture resonated, after you saw it.
Well, I think, I posted it in my current job. There's like a little like channel in our messaging app, like in Slack, right, where we were just like post movies and like, oh, I just watched this, and everyone like replies if they've seen it or like thoughts on it, and I posted because I think someone's like, oh, I'm seeing Freakier Friday soon, is anyone seeing it this weekend or something? I was like, oh, I just watched Parent Trap for the first time in full last night. It was great. Immediately, like 22 responses, different people being like, oh my god, it's my favorite movie. Someone's like, I went to 4 years of film school just to defend that Parent Trap is the best movie of all time. Like, it is, like, I think the really special thing about this movie, almost probably repeating myself, is just that, like, it is legitimately standing on its own a great film, and not just like a great family film or like a great film for kids or like some whatever. It's like on its own, it really just is a great movie.
And something that shows how great it is that we can sit here and like give this movie so many laurels, and yet the plot is so ridiculous to this day if this movie were bad or made like poorly, if this was any worse, this movie would be torn to shreds. It makes no sense. Like that like these two people, they got divorced. Okay. Normal thing. 50% of marriages end in divorce. We know this. We're modern. And they have twin girls, and they just decide, okay, you take one, I take one. We'll just never tell them about each other. And we'll just, pretend that we don't exist to each other. But we'll give them each half a photo. And if someday they find each other, so be it.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any sense when you say it out loud. And I think that the plot holes would be so so wide.
I mean, it's never explained why she wants to go to camp in America. Like that specific camp. It's never addressed. It's just like, well, you wanted to go, like.
Also, I want to say as a kid that I was like dying to go to a camp like this.
Oh, really?
And I mean, just from seeing it in this movie, and I didn't realize that camps like this existed outside of movies, that I literally thought, because my mom didn't want us to go away to sleepaway camp ever. So she was like, no, that's for the movie.
Oh my God.
And I was like, okay. And so then I grew up and I was like, oh, they're just really rich. I guess like,
no, I don't think you need to be really rich to go to a camp like this.
One of these camps from London?
Oh, from London? No, from London. She's
flying across continents to come to this camp.
No, I think she just wants an American experience. Like I said, it's not a dress, but she just wants. No, I mean, I knew a ton of people that went to camps like this growing up, and they're not rich. It's the scale of, but
it's that I meant her scale.
Sure.
Specifically, the other kids seem normal, but her.
Okay.
Coming from London, I was like, all right.
She's got money. She's got money. Yeah, but that doesn't explain why you didn't get to go to camp.
No, I didn't get to go to camp
was available to you.
No, because my mom lied to me and was like, people don't really do that.
When I went to camp like this, I didn't go to sleepaway camp, but I did go to like a day camp version of this because I was still too young to do sleepaway. First week I almost drowned, so great stuff.
Fuck, Evan.
Because we were doing the what is it, the when you pedal on the boat, what are those called? Paddle boats?
A paddle boat.
Boat. So I was doing that, and they tell you don't stand on it. So of course what you do as a kid, you stand on it. And I fell into the water. I had a life jacket, but when I had fallen the first time, my leg had gotten wrapped up in some plants and stuff, and I just got like kind of stuck down there for a little bit.
And then your twin emerged from the water and saved you, right? That's your long lost twin.
That's why I don't know who I am.
I don't know if I'm talking to Evan anymore.
Yeah, you might be talking to Kevin. Kevin Lee.
Kevin Lee.
Different last name because he went to a different family.
Of course, because of course. He grew up in another country.
Yeah.
But it's the setup of the movie is completely preposterous,
it really
but
is.
It works so well because the movie works, and because everyone in this movie is selling it. One of the long-lasting impressions of this movie, the lingering effect is not even really that Dennis Quaid and Natasha Richardson get back together, but it is the Leslie Ann Walters of it all. Chessie.
Yeah.
And the
Butler, Michael? No. Yes?
No. I'm trying to look up her. I think I butchered her name.
No, Lisa Ann Walter, right?
Lisa Ann Walters.
Yeah.
I said Leslie. Oh. Sorry, Lisa. But she lives on in the canon, especially among us queer women.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm not going to lie to you. Every time I wear a denim shirt, I'm just channeling her. I'm like, okay, I could work at a Napa winery. I could be raising a child that's not my own.
I think for a long time, I thought that was just Catherine Hahn. Because she kind of looks like Catherine Hahn in that moment.
A little bit.
Right? But like, I never like thought about how long ago Parent Trap came out or anything like that. But absolutely iconic. Especially when she started on Abbott Elementary. I remember being like, people being on the internet being like, we've been here.
Yeah. We have.
Like...
we absolutely have. And the whole Elaine Hendricks plotline as well, ahead of its time.
Yeah.
I would say. Before we got to before we got to mainstream like daughters calling out their fathers for being with like really young women. Like that scene where she's like, oh my God, you're gonna adopt Meredith.
Yeah, that was really good.
Cracks
really
me up
good.
to this
really
day.
Good.
To this day.
Yeah.
Things that have aged well in this movie, that and Meredith.
And
literally in real life and also just that plot line aged well.
Man, I mean,
I love this movie.
Yeah, it's great. It's such a it's obviously very tragic that Natasha Richardson passed away just, from like a freak skiing accident, was Liam Neeson's wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when she passed away, my dad was like pretty shaken up by that. Actually, he was like, the mom from The Parent Trap. I was like, oh, whoa, crazy. But
that's also how it was explained to me.
Yes.
And I remember being very sad because my mom knew this was like my favorite movie. And she was like, oh, she was the mom in The Parent Trap. And I was like, no.
Yeah. This it would be really, I think that is actually the thing that I think has been cited as like, would we do a sequel? Would we do something to it? And they're like, without her, like, I think Dennis Quaid said this, and take what Dennis Quaid is saying with a grain of salt, but it's like he did say it's like, without her, which she was kind of like one, it's hard to do the film again.
Yeah. I mean, she has a real magic about her. Mm-hmm. Seeing that scene of her doing the dresses, the wedding dresses, nothing in my entire life, even including the prospect of actually getting married, has made me want to try on wedding dresses more. I'm so serious. If you come to my wedding and I'm wearing a top hat with a veil over it, don't ask any questions. That's influence.
Yeah,
that is
influence.
The power of influence.
Yeah. Wow.
And this movie is so powerful, Evan, that we have 0 alternative pairings for the Freaky Friday.
Yeah, this is one.
That's how sure we were. We were this sure about it.
Yeah, this is one that I was really glad we chose this one, because I think like as we continue doing the podcast and finding different ways to link, different movies, I really love like the idea of linking like the creator of something like this, or like a creative team or creative person, and like linking to Lindsay Lohan, and I think seeing the start of her career as well as like where it is currently, which is a very healthy bounce back from a pretty tumultuous life.
She's thriving.
And so I guess we didn't really speak about her too much in Freakier Friday, but I think she was pretty good.
Thriving.
She's great.
She's thriving. She's doing amazing.
Yeah. And you can see like where she started here, and how she's like becoming more in tune with those same sensibilities. It'll be really interesting to see what kind of like long-term career she continues to have. And
yeah, I hope that Freakier Friday is her return to cinemas and not just Netflix movies about the holidays. I want to see her cast wide. Let's go.
Let's go indeed. Well, that is it for us today. Thank you so much for listening. Let us know what you thought about Freakier Friday. Let us know if you watched The Parent Trap. And if you haven't, go watch it, because
please
they
watch
don't make them like they used to. If you're listening to us on audio, don't forget to leave a review or comment on your audio platform, and don't forget to follow us on YouTube, where you can watch the video versions of these. You can see me crying when at the memories of Straight Gabby. You can check it out on YouTube at Back to the Future Pod. You can follow the podcast on Letterboxd at Back to the Pod, and Instagram at Back to the Feature Pod. Next on the podcast, we are going to look into the past. And by
we're doing something very special.
Yeah.
I'm calling it Back to the Feature Rewind, in which we talk about a movie that was released before we started this podcast. And Evan, what is that movie going to be?
That movie is going to be Train Leaving the Station by the Méliès Brothers.
We did not discuss this beforehand.
Did they do that one? Train Leaving the Station? Oh no, that was the Lumiere brothers, not Méliès. The Lumiere brothers. They did do Train Leaving the Station. I don't know. We're not discussing the Train Leaving the Station, but we are talking about a movie set in a time far, far away. That is Sinners by Ryan Coogler. Yeah, probably one of the best movies of the year, one of the most talked about movies of the year. There's been a lot of great movies this summer, of course, but Sinners was a great way to kick that all off in a very surprising everyone knew it was going to be great to watch, but I don't think anyone thought it was going to be the phenomenon. Are you saying that you doubted
Sinners, Evan? Are you saying that right now? We're not even on the pod yet for Sinners.
Never did.
No.
I'm just saying,
I never had a doubt.
Came out in what, March, April? Weird time.
April?
Yeah,
weird time. But hey, stranger things have happened, and this Sinners is clearly here to stay, so we need to talk about it. And it will be a great way for us to kick off Back to the Season Back to the Feature Awards Watch.
Oh, Back to the Season. That's a good one.
That's for when we branch out into TV.
That's our HGTV spinoff. Like, that's our home decor thing. Back to the Season. And for some reason, we're also just always talking about Happiest Season. Happiest Season scene by scene breakdown.
You are the Mackenzie Davis to my Kristen Stewart.
Listen, to be so honored. Oh boy.
Okay. We've overstayed our welcome.
Yeah.
Tune in next time to hear us talk about Sinners and to be determined blank check film.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.